What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Strikeout Bros. I'm Pablo. We got Lasha here. What's going on, Lash?
What's going on, bro? We got after today, we got 2 weeks left, or as of today
Yeah,
or
like
Sunday, it's
17
two
games.
weeks left, man. Yeah, man, it's
17
getting tight.
games.
Yeah, it's exciting but nerve wracking, if you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, for you guys, I see why you would say that, because you're going back and forth every 2 days. It doesn't matter because you both get to, slide into the postseason and whoever ends up in the wild card, because somebody's going to end up in the wild card. That's the scary part, I guess you're talking about. I can understand that. Whoever ends up in the wild card is going to have to play an extra series, and then after that, they'll see the number one seed in the American League, which would probably be the Yankees. So, that's a little tougher. It's a 2 out of 3 series. Anything can happen. You make a mistake and you end up paying for that royally. But like I see, we can start. That I just want to say that today's episode is gonna be one of my favorites because I'll tell you the name of the episode is "Let's Go Mets" with A
Yeah,
to
man, they're
go.
exciting. They're definitely exciting. I think they're the hottest team right now. Just I'm not trying to kiss your butt, but they really are, man.
Yeah, they're doing something special over there in Queens. I've been to a lot of those games, man. My dad came down from Puerto Rico and he's been to the Boston series. I got to see 2 out of the 3 with the Baltimore Orioles. I got to see Cincinnati play for a whole series. Uh, Fun times at City Field lately. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we lost that last one. We were going for 10 in a row. And we'll talk more about that, a little later. But I want to hear about what you fear the most in your division and what's happening over there. 'Cause it's interesting. It is. I like it. It's a lot of both of our teams are doing a lot of things right now, and we're trying to fight, you know?
Yeah, no, currently as we speak, the Yankees are 1.5 games ahead of us. They have one more win than we do, but they have two less losses than we do. It's a seesaw um, for the American League side. As far as the wild card goes for the AL, for the American League, the only two teams that are really duking it out is Kansas City and Minnesota, and they're duking it out for the division as well.
Mm.
You know, actually
I,
no, they're not. It's not the division. They're duking it out for the second and third wild card spot. Cleveland has the division, so I take that back. But
I,
anyway, Um, Kansas City is currently the second best wild card team, and Minnesota is the third best. And the team after them is Detroit, so it's 2.5 out outside looking in, if you want to call it that way. But Baltimore has a 5.5 game lead on the
yeah, that's
Kansas City
yeah, that
Royals.
yeah. The flip flop is always gonna be like that. You're always gonna have that lead.
Yeah, so I'm worried because yes, getting in is great, but at the same time, you want to win that division because then you get a week to rest your players. And if you're a team like the Orioles or the Yankees who are just struggling and tumbling into the finish line, it could spill over into the postseason and then in a 3 game series you're trying to fix your struggles that you've had for the last 2 months. It's not going to work. So that's my concern. But other than
Yeah,
that,
no, but you play. Don't forget that you play the game a little differently too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know you hate it, but analytics are gonna be used heavily when it comes to the postseason, especially with your team, because you have to figure out a way to win. It's not about can my starter go 7 innings. Who cares? You have to adjust to what they're doing and vice versa, and it's a chess match the whole way through. You know, and it's gonna be fun to watch, And I know, I know. I mean, I know I'm just speculating here, but I'm gonna see the best series is anything the Mets are in because I want to see how they adjust to that to the big show because they've been producing like that and they've been playing a lot of big teams that they might even see in the playoffs. So they've done well against those teams as well. But you guys, you guys are gonna have fun. You guys are gonna have fun because you're gonna end up playing them, and it's not about how long can my starter go. You know what I'm saying? If your starter gives you three good innings, man, and he starts to look shaky in the fourth, let's get him out of there, man. We have a bullpen, and they're here to help too. You understand what I'm saying? And it's a 2 out of 3. So you can even throw in another starter in there just to, jazz it up. But you have to win. That's all that matters. You have to win. It's a different game.
Yeah, I was just thinking of what I would like to see. I would love to see a San Diego Padres New York Mets wild card rematch from was it 2 years
Oh
ago?
my God. Yeah.
That'd
I
be
mean, yeah.
great because it would be a great opportunity. And this team is better than the team that played.
Hmm.
Both
Yeah.
teams are better than each other than they were 2 years ago when they played each other. That was
Yeah.
21 or 22? 21, I
Uh,
think.
that was 22. It was
22.
22.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would love to another pitcher, another starting. Well, actually, majority of the starting pitchers for both sides are not on that team anymore, as far as who they had pitching during that wild card series. But either way, I want to see because both the San Diego Padres and the New York Mets have been the hottest two teams in down
Yeah.
the stretch so far.
Yeah. Definitely. I agree with that. Arizona was there for a while, but then they slipped, and now they're half a game back. They play tonight. We're losing right now, and Atlanta's destroying the Washington Nationals. So whatever. We're gonna be flip flopping too. So right now we're ahead by one, I believe, and then if we lose tonight and they win, obviously they won already, but it'll be tied again, and we'll both be tied for that last slot. It's gonna be interesting. We'll see what happens, but I
Hey, I got a
can't wait.
question for you.
Go ahead, brother.
What would you say was the turning point of the Mets season?
Oh, I can tell you, me and my dad have this argument every day because he likes Torrens, right? And I like Alvarez. And let me explain why I say that. So Alvarez is one of those catches that makes your pitching rotation 100 times better. Not a little better, 100 times better. All right. So you have to understand that, we lost 5 in a row, and then, we were trying to figure it out. And the pitching was always there. If you remember, in the beginning of the season, the pitching was always there. The problem was we weren't hitting. Okay, we couldn't figure that out. We weren't hitting at all, but the pitching was always there. I would always say, "Damn, we have pretty good pitching," and the numbers were showing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we had like I think the best ERA for some time there, and the rotation was doing things. Severino's, was showing what he could do. Manaya was showing what he could do. And then, towards the end of this, we didn't have Senga. We had him for one day, and he was pretty good, and I can see the future. But let's say he's coming back on the 25th. That'll be the second game of the Atlanta Braves series. So he'll be available for that game, the second game of the series, which is the second to last series before the season ends. So it's gonna be fun to watch. I wonder where they're gonna be in the standings, and I want to see what happens, you know, with that series. So I have a lot more to say, but I don't want to be greedy because now we're talking about my team, and I feel like I didn't have this opportunity to talk about this team like this. This is one of the most interesting Met teams I've ever seen, and I've been a Met fan all my life. But Lasha,
Well,
I know.
I was gonna say I think Lindor is the MVP for the Mets because he's carried them more farther than they could have ever imagined, and they didn't look like that in the first 2 months of the season. And I'm just glad to see he's doing well, and they need him. He's like the Aaron Judge for the Mets, as far
Definitely.
as putting them on their back and carrying them because nobody else is producing, as in my opinion. Besides Alvarez and Vientos, Peter
No,
Alonso is
no,
nowhere to be
no, no. But the,
found.
the, the thing is that that this team is a great team. I can't even explain to you because like I've seen so many different lineups. I'm obviously I have my own lineup in my head that I think is the best lineup to go with, but contracts and you're getting paid this much. This guy's getting paid $2. We have to play you because we paid for you, and we don't want the fans to think that we're crazy because we put all this money and invested in you, and you're sitting on the bench. So that kind of stuff goes into play. I don't like it, but you know, this team has multiple lineups and they all pretty much work. Sometimes yeah, every team struggles, but when they connect, you know, and we have a great cast. It's just not like I understand Lindor is doing what we wanted him to do from the get, and he's become a different type of player now, and he's very exciting to watch because you really don't know what you're gonna get with him. He's fast and he's brilliant from both sides now. All of a sudden, at the beginning of the season he couldn't hit from the left side at all, and it was bothering me. And I didn't want to see him swing from that side because I already knew what the outcome was going to be. But that's not what happened. He turned into a monster from both sides, and then he's able to, hit for the fences from both sides. And it's pretty interesting how it takes a player, a little bit less than half a season to like figure it out after you've been practicing all winter. You've played. This is a guy that plays every day. He's one of those guys. So how could you not figure it out? Like, how could you have lost it if you had it last year and not be able to bring it to the table whenever you want? It's, it's insane to me. You get paid so much money, you should be ready to go when it's time to go. But whatever. What do you think about what I just said?
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes this is one of the nice things about baseball is that it's such a long season that you do have time to make
Yeah,
adjustments, and fix your weaknesses. Whereas something like football, or you know, football is the best example because it's only 14, 17 weeks. Where if you can't figure out why you can't get the ball out properly or why this is going that way,
yeah.
it's 4 weeks into the season, it's already too late.
Too
I
late.
think with
It's too late.
baseball,
Yeah,
you
it's
can
too
go
late.
with literally Lindor went 2 months with struggling, and ever since the All Star game, he's just been on fire, and he's going to continue to be on fire. And I think they'll go as far as he goes. And
Yeah,
Alvarez, like you said, he's been a great. People don't realize, in my opinion, the catcher is the quarterback version of the NFL of the
yeah,
baseball.
definitely.
Without a good
I
catcher,
agree.
your pitching staff is not gonna go anywhere because they control the game. They
Yeah,
they frame where the ball goes. They want
yes.
how it is,
That's
things
the
like
man.
that.
That's the man. That's the man. Trust me, that's the man. And you know what's funny? This is what I was trying to get at. That the fact that, he got hurt and he needed to get surgery, right, on his wrist or whatever it was. Right? He was gone for a while. And this is when the Mets struggled the most, because they didn't have a decent catcher. You know what I'm saying? Like a catcher makes a big difference. Now when he came back, that's when we saw the change in the team. And it was funny because the pitching was excellent, and then for some reason it just connected. I mean, Peter never connected. He never figured it out. Like for some reason he was a wash this year. Like I said, I've been to a lot of these important series at City Field lately, and it's crazy because when the door comes up, everybody else comes up. They love the team, but they don't really have much to say about Alonso. When Alonso comes up to bat, the stadium gets quiet, and it's pretty much an automatic out. And I guess it's the pressure. Like I saw a play, I can't remember what game it was, but it was a lot of games, a lot of innings, and I was like in it. And my dad loves it. Like we go to the ball game, and he doesn't even want you to get up. He's like, "You're gonna miss the game." You know what I'm saying? So like, you eat what you're gonna eat, you get your drink, and you sit down and you watch this movie. And this movie, you don't know who's gonna win. It could be the bad guys, it could be the good guys, but somebody has to win. So let's watch this and see how it happens. That's my dad for you. But you know, the 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 catching makes a big difference. It goes even further back. Remember when the Grom, Syndergaard, and all these guys they didn't want to throw to Wilson Ramos, I believe, right? Because they didn't like his style. But Wilson Ramos was the hot hand. He was the one that was getting all the hits. So You had to play him, but the pitchers didn't prefer him, and that was interesting. And I can't even remember who the backup was at that time. But we'll look that up later. But I remember, little things like that. A pitcher, and a catcher that have a serious relationship, and you would know that.
No, no, it makes a difference. You know, some catchers like the backup. Some pitchers like the backup catcher to catch him instead of the starter. Just they have a way of understanding how their ball dances and how to catch the ball, where the other catcher might not know how to catch a fastball from Cole, but the other one does. You know, so
Yeah,
whatever works. If that's the nice thing about baseball, you have two catchers, and you know that you can match the two of them together, and that they work well together. You know, it's not like it's not like football where if you put in a new center, there's a good chance that something's gonna happen. They just don't connect. You know,
yeah,
so
yeah. You have to build
in
chemistry. Yeah, you're right about that. Like a defensive line and an offensive line, and the quarterback and the wide receiver. All those guys need to have a relationship, a separate relationship. It's just like the guys in the bullpen, you know what I'm saying? Because they're living on their own little island, they're not with the team when the game is on. So they have their own little island and they stick together. So they have to be able to have good chemistry and push each other and give each other the information that they have. You know what I'm saying? Because let's happen to say that we're both relievers in a bullpen, right? And I fought Soto yesterday in the seventh and the ninth inning because I'm nasty. So I came in the seventh and I finished the game. We needed that because the bullpen needed rest. So I get to do that, right? And I get to face Soto twice, and I get to strike him out twice. So now that information has to come back to the bullpen. You understand what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
tomorrow you might have to pitch against Soto. So I'm giving you the information, what worked for me. This is how a bullpen should be. If it's not happening out there and anyone is listening and anyone, just spread that word. I think that's how a bullpen should be. That's how a bullpen should work. If you guys work together in that sense, then anything is possible.
No, you're right, and so yeah, as long as Lindor stays healthy, it's funny because I even noticed that with the Orioles. You know, when Rutschman catches for the Orioles, the team seems to do better. When McCann catches, you don't know what you're gonna get. You know, right now today he's catching and he's having a good game. You know, he catches tomorrow and the shoes might fall off, so he's
Yeah,
inconsistent.
yeah, I didn't like
But
that guy at
and
all.
you don't want inconsistency. But for a backup, he's a good backup. I like McCann. He's a good backup. As a starter, heck no. So it makes a big difference. But anyway, let's go back to Lindor. So Lindor, he's tied for 30 for 30, 30 home runs and 30 steals, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. So yeah, so that's how it works. Yeah, so 5 times. He did it 5 times. He hit 30 home runs as the third shortstop ever to hit 30 home runs 5 times, right? And the only two other shortstops that ever did that were Ernie Banks and Alex Rodriguez, which is pretty crazy. All right. So he's actually breaking records too. But we're the Mets. Nobody's gonna really talk about stuff like that. But the information is out there. This guy's doing some really amazing things this season. You know, right now, he's trying to, join the 40-40 club, if I'm correct.
yeah,
Uh he's
sounds
trying
right.
to join the 40-40 club, right? Something like that. But let's see what happens. It's gonna be, interesting. I like this guy. He's finally turned into like he's starting to remind me of Beltran or, players that I love growing up, when I was younger. Not growing up because I was older already. And this is when I really started watching baseball. And I was like, wow, I love this guy. I love the way this guy produces. He's clutch. You know what I'm saying? You know that when it counts, it's gonna happen. These guys are gonna come up and they're not gonna fail. They're gonna put in some serious work and get it done. And this is what this guy reminds me of now. Like everybody's falling in love with him all over again. Because when he first came over, everybody loved him, and they were like, "Wow, he was a great shortstop for Cleveland at that time." I think he was on that last Indians team. Am I right about that? I think so. Right before,
Yeah, and the team
yeah,
that went to the World Series.
Yeah, yeah, he was that last part of the Indians, you know.
Yeah.
So he, he was special to those guys, and he did his thing. And now he's doing, he's doing it over here too,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so far it's looking like that deal is worth every penny that they sent him. They spent on him. So far it's working.
finally,
Um,
finally, and I don't know, finally,
yeah, which is good. It just started off slow, but I think it was just him adjusting to a different league. Being in New York, where there's a lot more pressure, and moving to a whole new city, things like that. But I don't know. He's great, man. I was starting to worry in the beginning. I was like, is he starting to fall off a little bit? What's going on?
yeah,
But
too
no,
early
I
for
think it's
that.
just adjustment. Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I was thinking. He's
it's
like
too
he's
early for that.
literally in his prime,
Yeah, he's in his
if not.
prime. Yeah, that's like the greatest move. I mean, like, listen, if he's gonna play like that, and he's gonna be that type of, monster that when he pops up on the plate, that the pitcher is like, damn, this guy is gonna rake today, 'cause I don't think I have it, like that's crazy, like the guy is really producing, he's stealing, he's moving, he's doing everything. He's actually three steals away, right, from getting two 30-30 seasons, right? That's what he did, right? That's what he's trying to do right now. Three steals away from that. But Bobby Witt Jr. running second as well for the AL MVP, right? He's two steals away from it. And, you know, it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of, great shortstops up there. This guy Lindor is playing, like a champion. He wants to win. You can see it. I think he's a little too talkative for my taste, but he's that guy. I don't know. He's right now he's producing, so I'm not gonna complain, but it's pretty crazy. So what else do we want to talk about, brother?
Let's talk about Jeff McNeil. I saw he hurt his wrist. How long is he going to be out for?
Oh, he's done for the regular season. He's done. So, best wishes to Jeff McNeil. Like this is the guy that, won a batting title with us in 2022 and he got paid for his services. They gave him an extension. It was a $50 million extension deal for 4 years, right? So after that, he just like pretty much fell off. He hasn't been able to do that anymore. Like he's not that contact guy that we all loved. That guy that saw a man on second and third and said, "Wow, all I have to do is tap it right over here, right over this first baseman, because he's playing too far to the right, and I could just slip it right through here, right over his head." And that's the type of guy that McNeil was, like a Tony Gwynn, like slap the ball, put it into play, contact hitter. But this guy, for some reason, he lost that. And then, he gets hurt. He got hit. He was trying to, lay down a bunt and he got hit on the wrist and now he's gone for the rest of the season. He shrugged off the docs at the game, the trainers, and he said he was okay. But then come to find out he has a small fracture. But like I said, he wasn't producing, he wasn't doing his thing, and I feel like you should always play the hot hand. And I think Jose Iglesias is the hot hand. I think that he plays great defensively at second. I think that he gives you a better chance to win games, and he's a veteran. And yeah, he doesn't get paid as much as McNeil does, and I don't hate McNeil for getting the money because he deserved it at that time. So okay, but he's fallen off and he hasn't been able to produce like and he's hard on himself, and I don't know if that's working for him anymore. You can see the frustration in his eyes and you can see him, cursing himself out. It's pretty crazy. On national television on a daily basis, if McNeil doesn't produce, doesn't get a hit on any at bat, you're gonna see him frown and hate himself. All right, that's a given. You can always put your money on that. But I think he's a little too hard on himself. He's not hitting the way he was. They changed his setup completely, and they told him to start swinging harder, and he started to do that after the All Star break, and it kind of like started working, but he fell off again after that. I don't know. I don't know. You don't watch a lot of met baseball, but I know you know these players very well, and I know you know the numbers, and you know what's going on out there.
Yeah, no, just with McNeil getting hurt, man, it makes that Jose Iglesias signing such a big, what a great under the radar move that was. Because these guys just took a chance on the guy, as he was signed to be a backup essentially,
Yeah,
or
definitely.
of he was there to be to give McNeil rest days when he needed a rest day. Well, now he's getting his rest days due to injury, but
No, no, but
Iglesias has been another
like,
under the radar guy that's been performing for you guys, and
oh
that's
my God, I
that's been a
literally,
plus.
I just said, oh my God, I didn't even mean to say that, but seriously, like this guy is like, I don't know, man, like who doesn't want this guy on their team? You know what I'm saying? Like he's that type of guy. He's electric. He hits the ball hard. He hustles, and he plays a great second base, man. Like, listen, the song and all that hoopla and whatever, I don't care about that. I mean, listen, if it works, it works. If they're going back to the clubhouse and they're blasting that song 10 times in a row after they win a game, and if that's what works, that's what works. You want to keep, a lot of these players are superstitious, so they keep it going. But hey, listen, Iglesias is a way better player at this moment than Jeff McNeil. And I don't know if you agree with that, but you know, I have some numbers. We can take a look at them, and I'll explain to you why I think Iglesias is a little better. But what do you think? You think that Iglesias isn't like a this B grade that plays like a A grade, like player? Like it's crazy.
I just think overall, I take McNeil over. Now, Iglesias is near the end of his career. Iglesias just happened to he's having a better year with a short amount of games than McNeil has played. McNeil has played more games than Iglesias, and he just seemed to be struggling. But Iglesias just came in. I think a lot of these guys they do well and there's no pressure. Iglesias is one of those guys. There's no pressure on him. He's going out there having fun, creating music videos, all this crazy stuff. Because there's no pressure. And when there's no pressure, it makes your life easier. You can be more relaxed at the plate. You can be more relaxed at the plate. You can take your time, see what the pitcher's throwing at you, and and also you don't have to be as aggressive. You can just wait, take your time, wait for the pitch, and it's gonna come, and that's what he's doing. So it's been a plus.
Yeah.
Would he be like this if McNeil had broke his wrist in game one of the season? I don't know. Who knows? Iglesias has only played in what 23 games
Nah,
at the
he's
end of the
played
day.
in he's played in a lot of games,
67. Yeah,
67 games.
67.
All
So in
right.
the
So
67 games, like I said, that's pretty. That's a good. It's 3 quarters of the season.
yeah, but look at the numbers though. Let's look at the numbers, all right? Because this is an interesting subject, and I like what you said. Like you said something really interesting there, and I'm like, wow, I didn't even look at it that way. But the whole pressure thing and playing a certain way and being relaxed, and I can see that because Jeff McNeil got paid all this money to produce, and now he can't do it. So that means that he's in his head. Because I know he can be a better player. I know he has it in him. Now, what's going on? Only he knows. But all right, so McNeil played in 129 games this season, right? 424 at bats, right? 101 hits, 26 doubles, 12 home runs, 44 RBIs, right? And 35 walks with 68 strikeouts with an average of 238. Okay, so that's 129 games, 424 at bats. Jose Iglesias, right? This year, 67 games, right? So that's like pretty much half if you look at it that way, right or wrong. Like, it's pretty close to half. So he gets at bats, right? Now 196 at bats, right? So that's like almost half of what McNeil has on the other side, therefore 129 games, right? So Jose got 62 hits, 13 doubles. And so 62 hits, right? And McNeil went up to bat 424 times. McNeil gets 101 hits. This guy goes up to bat 196 times and he gets 62 hits. You see that, right? You see the difference there?
Yeah,
That's huge.
it's a big
It's
difference. It's a big
huge.
gap.
There's a
Yeah,
big gap. There's a big gap there, okay?
yeah.
Because you know what I'm saying? Now you went half less than half at the at bats that McNeil had, and you were able to produce 40 less hits than him in less than, and McNeil got an extra 200 and something at bats. That's crazy to me, right? That's crazy to me.
No, it definitely is. So,
Okay,
kudos to him.
and then you get 13 doubles, right? And then McNeil has 10 extra doubles with 200 and something at bats. You see what I'm saying? Like this
Wow.
is yeah. It's crazy to me. I don't know, you know. And then McNeil gets 44 RBIs and 424 at bats, and my man Jose has 23 RBIs. All right, right up his right halfway there with 200 and something less at bats. Okay, you see why I say, you know, batting 316 because obviously he's not playing every day, so he get. But when he comes to play, he's hitting the ball. Because we have DJ Stewart is batting like 170. He's below the Mendoza, that's for sure. And you know, he's been up and down. He's been up here and he wasn't hitting, so they sent him back down. But that gives you an example of what type of player Jose Iglesias is, you know? And I know you see the difference. And this is the difference, all right? So, yeah, McNeil got 101 hits, but they weren't in pivotal moments, you know? He's not clutch like Jose is. Jose's clutch. Like a lot of these hits were when we really needed them, when we had men on base, when we know,
Two
when,
outs,
two outs, this is what he's doing,
down by one, 10th
down by
inning.
one. Exactly. This is what he's been doing on a constant. Okay. With 200 at bats, the majority of those hits meant something to him, the team, and the fans. All right. This is why he's a household name. Not because of the song or anything like that. It's because this guy came to play and we're blessed to have him. All right. That's how I feel. And I like the way you think too. You said a lot of interesting things when it came to those two. But you would rather have McNeil because you know what you have in him. You're right. Iglesias next year, might not have the energy. And it depends on the team and what your team is doing and how your team is moving, and you wanna contribute. You don't think that that's how it works. This is why your team is so good too, because your team, they have chemistry. They grew up together, and they're gonna get better and better, and you guys have money now, so you guys can fix situations, now. It's not like, oh well, we paid for this guy and he didn't pan out, so now we're stuck. No, you guys aren't in that situation anymore. You guys can actually fix what's broken. So you guys are gonna oh man, listen. If the Mets and the Orioles end up in the World Series this year, I wouldn't be surprised. Right now, as we speak. Yeah, we know we're about to lose the second game in the series in Toronto. Atlanta won, whatever. We won a lot of games. Won a lot of games. Won 9 in a row, and the crazy thing about that is that right, we swept Boston, right, we swept Chicago, right, and prior to that, Diaz blew a save because we were playing Arizona. We would have swept them if it wasn't for that blown save. That would have been three sweeps in a row. Then we go into playing with Cincinnati. Cincinnati lost the first two. The last game, man, that would have been four sweeps in a row. Like the potential for that happening was there, and the fact that they were playing like that, and the potential for that to happen was there. That was crazy to me. I just couldn't believe it. Nine in a row, and then of course we got stopped, right? But the run has been real, and I've witnessed it live, and it's pretty crazy to be in that stadium and feel the energy. The energy is in the building. It's getting nippier, it's getting crazy, and the fact that we're still playing competitive baseball, and I'm buying tickets and willing to sit down for 3 hours to watch these guys play in September, yeah, it's special. And I know you understand.
Yeah, yeah, no, I see. So they've won what 17 out of the Mets have won 17 games out of the last 23. So that's above 500. You know, that's pretty above 500. They've been playing in those 23 games, and these are the type of games. This is the type of wins you need if you want to make the playoffs. You know, they had to do this because they fell so far behind in the first 2 months of the season that they had no choice but to be playing like the way they are now. And if they hadn't done this, I don't think they'd be in the position they are now. But now that they're in the driver's seat, the hardest part, you know, the easiest the easiest thing to do is getting there. The hardest part is staying there. And now that the Mets are in the wild card, can they stay there? Now with the loss tonight and the Braves win, I think they're tied back, or they're tied for the same record, or
Yeah,
maybe go
time
a
for
half a.
yeah, no, it's time for the
Yeah,
same.
they're tied. Yeah, because the Braves just match the same amount of wins.
Yeah,
So, but anyway, these are the type of stretches that you need when your team, you know, like the Mets, you know, who, in my opinion, really don't have any pressure because they weren't planning to go to the playoffs this year. They were just planning to rebuild, try to build their farm system. They knew the 2024 off season's coming. They know Soto's going to be available. They know Alonso's going to be important, available. So those are two main things they're worried about, and they know now with the likes of Steve Cohen, they have the money to go get a Soto. So I think they're gonna throw the kitchen sink and everything at Soto to get him. Because in my opinion, I think they value Soto more than Alonso. If they don't get Soto, then they'll come begging back to Alonso to come back. Now it is a plus because Alonso does want to come back to the Mets, but if the Mets have the ability to pick up Juan Soto, I'm sorry, Alonso, I know you're homegrown, but you don't produce as well as Soto has since
yeah,
he's been 21 or
yeah,
18, whatever it is.
whatever it is, yeah. So like seriously, yeah, you're 100% right about that. I agree. You know, I've seen, and the reason why I'm saying that, you know, we just finished talking about Lindor and how it took him all this time to transition and become the player that he was when he played for Cleveland, right? And I've watched Soto move multiple times, and he's always been able to produce no matter where he landed. And that's a real player. That's a guy that's like, okay, so I'm wearing this uniform, the ball is the same, my bat's the same, and I know exactly what to do. All right. So what am I? I'm playing right field, of course, right? Oh, you want me to DH? Okay, I'll DH. I'll right field. I don't care. Whatever you want, boss. And then he's gonna come up to the plate and he's gonna kill that ball. And that's what he does. He doesn't have a problem. He played for Washington. Got a ring, left. Played for San Diego. Didn't have a problem hitting over there. You know, came to the Yankees. Boom. Doesn't have a problem hitting there. And I'm pretty sure if he, crosses the bridge, he's not gonna have a problem hitting there either. And on top of that, that's the division he came from originally. So he's not gonna be completely lost.
No, definitely not. One thing I want to switch to is the Mets starting pitching. They've been really the greatest and most successful surprise for the Mets. You know, Luis Severino is a 1 year project. They say, you know what, we'll give him a shot. He seemed to be done in with the Yankees. He just had a horrible year, and they let him go. And he ever since he's came to the Mets. He's having a great year. Same thing with Sean Manaea. He kind of struggled in the beginning. Quintana, he's not the ace that he was in Chicago White Sox, but he's a good 3 or 4 starter
Yeah, he's okay. Yeah,
for
I'm.
the rotation.
Yeah, so we're losing all three of them because Manaya has a an option for like 13.5 million, and I'm pretty sure he's not gonna take it with the year he had this year. I'm pretty sure he's gonna
No, he's
try
gonna
to
get more
snatch
money.
up. Yeah, he's gonna go out there and try to snatch up a 2 or 3 year deal and make a lot more money. So I know he's not coming back unless we pay him. And Luis, and what a great job. But I'm pretty sure we're not gonna pay him either. We're gonna just gonna let him go, and somebody's gonna attain him, and they're gonna have fun with him. He's great. I love him. He did a great job this year, and I love it. I love it. That little rotation, it's an interesting team because we're never gonna be able to see this team play ever again after the season is over. This team was special. So it's David Stern's baby. It's like his first Met team that he put together, and he put it together an amazing cast. It's crazy how you put players together, then they just build chemistry, and he knew exactly what he was doing. He thought that something was really wrong in the beginning of the season because he couldn't understand why it was happening. And look, he put together a great product, and I'm excited to see what else he does. It's a it's a really interesting season for us. This team is not going to be nowhere near the same next year, and that's sad.
No, but like I said, for the Mets, um, free agent pitching wise, you got the Corbin Burns that's going to be a free agent, and then Boston is the rumor to go after him, and the Yankees.
Of
But
course,
even if you don't get him, you got Max Fried that's also available. Shane Bieber. I'd be shocked if the Atlanta Braves just let Max Fried walk. He's been okay. He's been
yeah,
good.
they're not
He
going to do
hasn't
it.
had a great year this year, but if you let him go, I think they'll let him test the market and see, do what Judge did. Go window shopping and see who gives you the best offer, and then say, hey, this is what this team gave me X, Y, and Z. Do you want to match? And I think Atlanta's would match. I don't, they're short. Their bullpen is not that great. I mean, their starting rotation is not that great. So I think they'll do that. But besides that, if I'm the Mets between Mania and Severino, I would just keep giving these guys 1 or 2 year contracts and see what happens. You don't want to commit to a long contract. If he wants a
I
lot
know,
of
but
money,
yeah,
then you gotta take it. He said, "Listen, I'll give you 1 year for 25 million. Take it or leave it." You know what I mean? Just because the Mets can eat a contract like that, it's not the end of the world. If he has a great year, great. You do it again. If he doesn't, all right, you just lost 25 million. That's what I would do. But a team
I
that
like
doesn't
that.
have Cohen's, he's not gonna do that because they can't take that risk. You know.
Yeah,
So that should be my backup plan if I'm the Mets. If I can't sign Burns, Beavers, or the Freeds of the world, out of the guys I currently have that are free agents, who can I take? And if Severino, me between Mania or Severino, I'm taking Severino all day. Mania, he's inconsistent. You know,
I know, but he has over 10 wins, and
he does.
he has been a pivotal piece to why we're where we're at now, and
No, definitely.
Severino as well. Quintana, he's had moments, but then he has a lot of bad ones too. So like he's a funny dude. Listen, Peterson has become a monster. Like we don't know where this came from. It reminds me of the Grom when he first came up. He was okay. He was okay, but then he turned into this monster, right? And Peterson did that. For the last couple of weeks, he's been electric. All right, I was at the stadium and he struck out 11 dudes. All right, bro. Like he struck out 11 dudes, bro. He was a monster that day, and he's been great for us. And today he had a bad night. He was horrible tonight. Okay, like when I say he was horrible, it was bad, and I don't even want to talk about that because it really, upset me. But I know he can be better, But everybody has bad days, right? So
Yeah, no, but like I say, you got baseball. It's hard not to, but you got to enjoy the moment, live in the moment, have fun, and see where the road takes you. You could be the Arizona Diamondbacks of this year, where you just go on a magical run and go all the way to a World Series. Kind of like what they did in 2015. That 2015 Mets team, they literally went on a magical ride. Everyone was just producing at the right time. Offense was right there when it needed to be. The pitching was on point. Everything was just everything just worked out well, and that's why I'm noticing with this year's Mets team. Diaz has gotten a lot better. I know he struggled in his last opportunity recently, but
a
he's kind
little,
of
yeah, but
looking
we
like
he still
his
got it. He
old
still got the
self.
faith, yeah, but he struggled in the series where it mattered most. He struggled in the series. He blew a save with the San Diego Padres, and the funny thing about this little adventure that we call the schedule for the Mets is that San Diego was on top of the division. Arizona was right behind them. And here we were, looking outside again because we didn't play well and we ended up below the wild card. And we were looking in, and Atlanta had the last slot, and we're playing San Diego, bro. And we could have won 3 out of 4, and we ended up splitting that series. And that's because Diaz blew a save, you know. And then the same thing with Arizona. Arizona was gonna get swept by the Mets, all right, and Diaz blew a save. So these games, these important games. Now, can you trust Diaz in a situation where we really need it in a postseason situation where it's like, man, it's 2-1. These guys have their 1, 2, and 3 coming up. Bottom of the ninth. Do you bring the trumpets, or you keep the hot hand for the I don't know.
Yeah, no, I really don't know.
I don't know. I mean, you have the same exact problem on your side. So you obviously you're gonna make the postseason. Now you got a 2-1. I'm saying, bottom of the ninth in their stadium. And what do you do? Do you bring your man in, or do you don't want to? You don't want to. You've been all year long. You've been talking bad about this man.
Oh no, 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 no! I would not bring in well, Kramer's not Dean Kramer's not Dean Kramer. I forgot his name already. Uh,
That's how bad you hate him. I'm not gonna tell you his name because that's your team, and you talk so bad about this guy all year long. You've been
Kimbrough.
you've
He's
been
been he's been
look at that. You
he's
hate him
been
so
so
much you forgot his
consistent.
name. That's
That's because I
crazy.
fucked him out of my memory.
You
But Sir
definitely
Anthony
did.
Dominguez is now our new closer. He's a guy they acquired from Philadelphia. He's not Felix Batista. He's not Edwin Diaz. But he's a little better than Kimbrough. I at least have some hope and faith in Dominguez than I do in Kimbrough. I don't know what it's Kimbrough. I don't know if it's age has caught him with him, or he just has. His problem is he one, he doesn't throw fast, and two, he has no controllability. If you have controllability, then you're great. If you can't throw fast, you gotta have controllability. If you can't throw fast, if if you can't have if you have control issues, you gotta throw fast. It's just the
Yeah,
way it is with pitching, because if you throw fast, it's gonna be hard. So it doesn't matter where you put the ball because the guy's gonna still swing, because you threw it so damn fast. But if you can't throw fast, you gotta be pinpoint accurate where the ball goes, and you gotta make that ball dance in the strike zone and make it so frustrating for the hitter. And Kimbrel can't do that, and it's highly frustrating. So he comes in when there's like a 4 point lead. Anything more than 2 runs, he's gonna be in there. Anything less than 2 runs, Brandon Hyde's like, heck no, I'm not dying on this hill, because unfortunately, it's gonna be a situation in the postseason where they're going to have to use him
yeah. And maybe
because
that'll change for him.
yeah,
Maybe he'll become that elite closer again because
maybe
the adrenaline and the situation.
he's been there before with the Red
Exactly.
Sox,
Yeah, yeah. So I can see that
the
happening.
Phillies. So who knows?
But
He might turn around, but I highly
yeah,
doubt it.
no, but this is what I'm scared of. These are the little things that I'm scared of. Can he pull it off? We don't want to lose a game in the postseason like that with a blown save because you had your elite, the guy you actually pay to do this job that we actually need to pull off right now is this guy. And this guy comes in and you know, you know, we don't want to talk about that. But yeah, these things can happen. And this is why it's scary for both of us. It's crazy how that works. And like everybody's saying, yeah, the Mets, if they make the postseason, what a great year. No, they have to at least win a series. So you can say, this Met team was great and they made it to the NLCS or whatever it is, like
Or the DS if they make the wild
yeah,
card.
yeah, but because we don't want them, I mean, listen, we don't want them going in and getting blown out in the first round, in, in their first series. We don't want that happening. I mean, listen, like I said, this is the magical team. This team is like the bad news bears to me. It's like, like, yeah, we're gonna have you together this year, but next year you guys can forget about it. You guys are definitely not going to be playing together next year. I don't care how well you did this year. You guys are not gonna be playing together next year. This is a one and only, you know. So have fun, enjoy your season, and it's crazy. It's been a great season. This is one of the funnest teams to watch, man. It's crazy.
You know what the
I,
Mets remind me of? They remind me of the 21 Orioles. Uh, they they finally turned around the corner. They went from 115 loss season to a winning record, and they were in the wild card contention, and unfortunately, just didn't make it. But they won 84 games that year, but they had no pressure on them. Same way the Mets, they have no pressure on them this year. They're just out there playing loosey goosey, having fun. They know the guys that are playing for them are not their futures. Future. They're not to be a part of the future. They're not part of the future, and that's the way it was with the Orioles. And that's what this season resembles for me. The Mets very similar to the 21 Orioles, and then the next year the Baltimore just took off, and I think that's what's gonna happen with the Mets next year. The Mets next year, I could see them being the contender, um, title contender next year.
hmm, let's see. I think that anything can happen this year. The way these guys are playing, it's pretty interesting. So we're getting to the part of the show where we try to make this a little bit more interesting and informative. It's the trivia question, of course. We try to stump Lasha, and then we break out the information for you. So this way you guys can get enlightened on how these questions get put together, and how deep you can dive when you ask a question like this. All right. So here we go. You ready, sucker?
Fire away.
So which Mets, right, have won a batting title?
Ooh, which Mets? Oh boy. All right,
Mm.
let me think. Let me
Um,
think. Um. Ooh. Mm,
Take your time. This is a good one, and I know you know both of them. So
Carlos. I'm just gonna take. I know both of them. All right. What about Carlos Beltran?
no,
Not
strike
no
one.
Beltran. Okay, so what year was this? Can you give me a hint? Give me
No,
three hints or
no,
hints at
I'm not.
all.
No, no. Well, okay. You
You don't
want
have to give
a
me a
hint?
hint. Never mind. Forget it. Okay, I'm gonna figure it out.
Nah, I'll give you a hint. I'll give you a hint.
Just give me
All
one.
right, all right. I'll give you one. And if you don't catch it, the flying squirrel.
His nickname was the Flying Squirrel.
Yeah.
Oh, um, Jose Reyes.
No, that's not the flying squirrel. But Jose
He was
Reyes
fast.
definitely no. He was fast, and he definitely won the batting title.
There
He
you go.
won that.
Okay.
He won that in 2011 with a 337 average. And you know who was right behind him? Do you remember that?
20 in the 2011 season, Jose Reyes.
He won the batting title in the National League, and there was a player that was right behind him. He played for the Brewers at the time,
Played for
and
the Brewers.
yeah, and he hit 332.
Oh, Prince Fielder.
Nope.
No, he's too fat. That
It's
wouldn't work.
yeah. No, but we're not. It's not that we're not talking about the 40-40 club. We're talking about a batting title. We're talking about best average for the season.
Average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can be
Oh, so
fat.
it could be Fielder. Okay, I take that
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, 2011. I don't know. I don't know the Brewers that well.
All right. It was
He
Ryan
played.
Braun.
Oh, he's still there. Duh. Oh wow, I'm an idiot. Okay,
All
yes.
right. Now you want to hear the before we go into the other guy. Let's talk about this interesting story that I found about the whole thing where Jose Reyes winning the batting title that year. Right. So I believe they were going into like the last game of the season, right? And they were both pretty close, right? So depending on the outcome of the day and what they produced or not, we would know who the winner of the batting title would be, right? So Jose Reyes goes up, and I believe that he hits like a what? He gets a bunt hit or something like that, whatever. He gets on, and his average goes up a little bit, and he tells Terry Collins to please take him out of the game because he doesn't want that. He doesn't want to drop the average after getting the hit, right? So of course, everybody, everybody, all the Met fans and the papers, they're like he cheated, you know, because he didn't go out there and prove that he, truly, was the batting champion that year because he took himself out the game. Terry wasn't happy with it either. That's the funny thing about it. Terry wasn't happy with it. But yeah, that's just
Wow.
what he did. It's kind of like cheating. It's an ugly finish, right? That's what they call it.
Yeah. Wow. That's really good. I forgot about Ryan Braun. Um, and then Jose Reyes. Jose Reyes, after he had left the Mets, he had a bunch of problems off the field, but he was a great player with the Mets. He every time he got on base, he would steal. He put a lot of pressure, and he was a good shortstop. He played well. He could hit. Kind of like Lindor, but Lindor is way better.
Yeah, I think so. I think Lindor's a little
Anyway,
better.
there's a if you're looking for a good game to watch after this, Chicago Cubs and the L.A. Dodgers, Shotei Amanga versus Yamamoto. I'm gonna
Mm.
watch this game to go to
Uh,
sleep to.
I might tune into the San Diego Arizona games. They both start at like
Wild card.
40. Yeah, see how they play. But I'm done today. Because you know how it is. We always talk about it. When the team loses, you just don't. Everything
Yeah, I'm the
sucks.
same way. You don't want to do anything. You just want to
I don't want to
wait for
watch.
tomorrow to come. Yeah.
Yeah, I want exactly. You can't wait for tomorrow to come to see how they do. Because you're like you gotta get over this hump, guys. You can't lose two in a row. Not what we're trying to do right now. All right, we lost one, but guess what? Tomorrow's the rubber match, and we have to take that.
Yeah, same thing with Baltimore. They got a rubber match versus Boston. They gotta win. Boston is 2 games out of the last wild card spot, and they're barely above 500. I would be really upset if they lose. Nothing upsets me more than when our teams lose to teams who are barely above 500 or just like dragging. It's just like, come on, man, you should be slapping these teams around.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that. So the other guy, right, that won the batting title for the Mets. Who is it? You know who it is? It happened in 20
Piazza.
no, in
What?
2022. 2022.
2020. Oh, what do we have? No, Alonzo or Nimmo or McNeil. I'll go McNeil.
McNeil. It was McNeil.
Yes, Jeff McNeil.
Yeah. And you know who came in second that year? By 1 point?
Nimmo
No. Freddie Freeman.
of the Dodgers. He was already in. No,
Three
yeah, he's already with the L.A. Yeah, he was already
but
with L.A. I think
no, I think that was he was still with the
Atlanta's
Braves at the
last
time.
year.
Yeah, I
That
think
might
it
have
was
been
that,
his last year. That's right.
yeah, 2022, 23 and 24. Yeah, Dodgers. But I think that
Okay,
happened. Yeah, 2022. I think he was still
last
with
year
the
with the Braves.
Braves.
So year
Yeah,
after
so
they won the World Series.
325 that year for him, and Jeff beat him
Wow.
by 1 point. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, right? And then we have our pitcher of the week. Well, we have two pitchers of the week because
It was
Lasha
so good.
couldn't. It was so good. Lasha couldn't pick one. So
They have very similar stats.
so go ahead. I want you to let's do this. Talk about it.
So our pitcher of the week for this week was the first guy came from the Arizona Diamondbacks, Zach Gallen, on September 4th against San Francisco. He pitched 6 innings, allowed 0 hits, 0 earned runs, with 8 strikeouts in
Yeah,
the
that's
win.
pretty impressive.
And then the other guy, his name is Shotei Amanga. He's a rookie from Japan. He's with the Cubs. He just came over this year, and he's currently pitching right now versus the Dodgers. Anyway, he was a part of a combined no hitter in a 12-0 win against the Pittsburgh Pirates on September 4th. He pitched 7 innings, 0 hits, 0 earned runs, 7 strikeouts.
That's
So he went more innings, had one less strikeout. Basically, that was the only difference.
yeah,
But that's pretty amazing,
it is.
especially for a guy who's coming to a new league. I think that's more impressive than the other guy because Gallen's been in the MLB for a while. Where Manga, he's new and he's a small pitcher, and this is his first year in the major leagues compared to Japan, and he had a great performance. And Pittsburgh was one of those teams I thought they're gonna maybe make the wild card because they just look so good. But besides Skeens, everybody else has been horrible for them, so they're not gonna make the playoffs. But who knows? Anyway, It's and then our hitter of the week for this week was no other. You've heard of this name
A million
replay.
times, yes.
Yordan Alvarez of the Houston Nationals on September 6th versus um,
Arizona.
Arizona. He went 2 for 4, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, and 2 runs. He's literally carried that team along with what's his name, the second baseman for the Astros, Altuve. So those two guys. Without those two guys, who knows where Houston would be? But he's our hitter of the week.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. I was at a game the other day, right, when Vientos hits can't remember all the stats. Let me see if I can find it. But Vientos hits 2 home runs, gets four, RBIs off of that move. And he hit the walk off in the bottom of the 10th, which is pretty man, I was there for that too. That was pretty crazy. A lot of exciting times at Citi Field, brother. It's pretty, fun to watch. Trying to remember
Yeah,
the
man.
game.
2 weeks, man. 2 weeks. I can't believe we're down to 2 weeks. I'm kind of sad because the postseason can come and go really fast, and your team can be out of it with a snap. You know, if you lose 2 games or 4 games, your season. It doesn't take much to lose 4 games. It doesn't take much to. It's easier to lose 2 games than it is to win 2 games, and it's easier to lose 4 games than it is to win 4 games. So your season could, you could be uh, end fast, or you can continue to surprise you. And if both of our teams go far, for the Orioles, I want to see them get past the DS because that's the way they went last year. If they can get past the ALDS, make it to the next round, I'll be happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you on that.
The
That's
first I've ever seen them play in my lifetime was the ALCS against the Royals, but then they lost in 2015. And you know what happened then? The Royals went to play on the Mets, and they beat the Mets. So that's the last time I've seen the Orioles. And same thing for the Mets. The last time you've seen them get that far was the World Series. So you want to see them win it if they can.
oh man, I would love it. But we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. So yeah, Vientos, man. Vientos had a great day that day. They ended up winning 6-4 that day. He hit a homer with Lindor on base, and then he hit another homer when in the bottom of the 10th with Nimmo, because Nimmo was the man on second. The inning started out with, the extra inning rule. So he did that, and we took the lead. The game was tied 4-4 in the 10th, and they came off with another Vientos home run. So, you know what? Head of the week, mm, you know, we can argue that's a great second place. Would you agree with that, sir?
Yeah, no, I definitely would. It's not a
So,
bad position. But like I said, nice thing about being a wild card team is that once again you have less pressure because no one's expecting of you because you just got in. That's the way I look at the wild card. The wild card places I look at it as you're the last car that just got under the garage door that's closing. You ever done that before? You try to get right under the gate before the door
yes, yeah,
closes.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's the way the Mets and the Orioles are. You know what I mean? You're like the last car trying to get into that last spot of that gate of that parking lot before they close the gate at closing time, and that's what the Mets are. And if you get in, great, play loose, see what happens. The team that they might be playing, they might have looked good all year, but then they come to the postseason. The Mets could play the Philadelphia Phillies in the first round. Let's just say.
Yeah, yeah, that's
I
gonna
could
happen.
easily see the Mets take 3 out of 4 against the or 4 out of 7, whatever it is, 3 out of 5 from the Phillies because the Phillies just in turmoil, man. They're just like a ball that just keeps unwinding and unwinding, and I don't know what's
No,
going
no,
on.
but
So
this is the funny thing. The funny thing is that after the series with Toronto with the rubber match tomorrow, you know where we're going, right?
Philadelphia.
That's right, for three.
Cheesesteaks, Geno's.
Right, we're going on cheesesteak land, and we have to play them. And that's the funny thing is that we have to play them three in Citizens, and then they come over to City Field for the last series of City this year, right? Because then they go on the road and they play Atlanta and Milwaukee to end the season out on the road. But the last homestand is 4 game series against the Phillies. So that's 7 games right there. So, like I said, all these playoff teams, right? That everybody that's in the race to try to, the Mets have run through them. We played Arizona because if the season ended today, this is the funny thing. The season ended today. I think we will play a 1 game elimination with Atlanta. Then from there, we would have to fight Arizona, and that would be a 2 out of 3 series. And that would be in Arizona all 3 games because they have home field advantage because they have a better record, right? And after that, the winner of that 2 out of 3 would have to play San Diego in San Diego for 3 games straight. All right. And then the winner after that would play the number 1 seed, and the Phillies and the Dodgers are still fighting for that. So we don't know who's gonna be because the Dodgers haven't been all that great this year either. I thought they were gonna win over 100 games easily, but no, not the case. So we'll see who the number 1 seed is. The number 1 seed could be the Mets for all I know, because if you think about it, imagine if we take all 7 games from the Phillies. We'll be right there at the top of the division. So I'm just saying, you never know what can happen. There's 18 games left, and anything can happen. Agreed, sir?
No, well, right now you're currently 8 games out, so you would have to. You and Atlanta 8 games out, so if there's 7 games left, yeah, you would basically be 1 game.
Yeah.
In that time, you would need not well. Even if you took 7 games from them, yeah, you'd be 1 game behind. But
Yeah.
you'd also need Philadelphia to lose the other games when they're not playing you as well.
No, 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 but that doesn't matter because remember when we play Philadelphia, we have to play them 7 times. So whoever wins that game takes a game.
Yeah, no, that's true. So if you win 3 games, you're now three and a half.
Oh,
You're what 5 games out of the
exactly,
first place. But
exactly.
the problem is if Atlanta keeps winning, then you're both 5 games out of that of the Braves. I
Oh
mean the
yeah,
Phillies.
definitely. Yeah, yeah. That's
So
fine.
you
That's
need
fine.
You need Atlanta to poop the bed or whatever you want to say, and you need Philadelphia to continue to fall off like they continue to.
It's gonna be
And
fun the whole way through. It's gonna be great. But
so,
oh my god, I just can't
in
stop laughing.
the all right. So let's just go by the last 10. In the last 10, both the Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies are 8-2, whereas the Braves are 5-5. That's why they've been able to catch up to the Braves, and
Yeah,
that's why. So if they continue to play on that track, then it's I would not be surprised if the Mets finished with at least the first spot in the wild card. I think that's more likely. That's more realistic to me. The Mets getting the first wild card spot than it is them
getting the
winning the
division.
division.
Yeah,
Because with less than 20 games left, with 20 games left, I think we said 23 games left,
18,
whatever it is.
18, 18 games left.
With 18 games left, man, at 18 games, Philadelphia would have to go like 2-16 in those 18 games.
Nah,
If
not
that
that bad.
happens,
Not that bad. Not that bad. They
or
just
at
have
least
to.
500. If they play
Nah, nah. Listen.
500, that's not good.
Nah, nah. Listen. If when the Mets play these 7 games, if the Mets come out of it 5-2, that's a problem for the Phillies right there. Because then the Phillies really can't lose after that series. I mean, you understand that? That's how
Yeah.
it's gonna be. It's gonna be just like that. If the Mets come out of that 5-2 or 4-3, Philly's gonna have to play their hearts out for the rest of the season because anytime they make a mistake, they have to worry about that rearview mirror. But the same with the Mets, you know. But we'll see. Coming
Yeah,
to the
man.
end of the show,
Yep.
and we'll
So,
be back next week, and I'm pretty sure things will be completely different from what we just spoke tonight. Because that's baseball for you. But you guys have a good night. Lasher, that was a great one.
Good job, man.
And
We'll see you next week.
see you next week, brother.